What makes Dover Land Conservation Trust special is that it's privately funded. It doesn't cost the taxpayers anything, and it preserves the open space and rural character of the town. While it may have been founded in 1965, there were a lot of families and people that were trying to preserve the open space prior to that.
Snow Hill being something that had a fire tower on it and had walking trails, the feeling was this is something where maybe this enthusiastic development should kind of be slowed down a bit and some of this preserved for future generations. Hallie also felt that it was important to have some people in the trust who didn't fall into the category of the Dover establishment and the Dover upper crust. And so one of the people she got was Ralph McAllister, who was the local electrician. And he was also a Boy Scout leader. And well, obviously the Springdale Field is, that's really iconic in Dover. And what's happened is these celebrations each year. It's been great for that, and I think people love it. And the space is virtually unlimited for those purposes. Nelson Bartlett was certainly a character, and there again, like David Lewis, he was an old batch, but he was a good, friendly guy, and I think he made significant financial contributions to the trust and was very helpful. The people who looked over the properties were helpful too. I think Ralph McAllister was the original ranger, and then we've had only 2 or 3 people who've taken on that job since. And so it's been important to have somebody looking after the properties.
Well, the DLCT is in a particular position, and that it can deal with smaller properties and pay attention to the smaller properties. Big difference to Dover, and it can be very small. If people will be very relieved that there's just a small meadow or something like that has been retained and saved and not developed, and that kind of thing all over town makes a big difference.
To have as much open space and pretty open space as Dover has takes a lot of work, and so it doesn't just happen. It isn't just the leftover farmland from 1900 or something. It's an endeavor that needs to be supported by everyone.
There's a piece of property that now is given over to vegetable farming. So that piece of the valley got acquired by the land trust. That was not a large piece, but that was important. One thing that's been fairly constant is on properties that are open, field-type properties, to keep them properly mowed and keep brush down so that they stay open.
So our first major project in recent times came on the horizon in 2015, 2016, and that was so-called Pegan Hill, and now what we also call Lewis Hill.
It was a tremendous partnership of quite a few people besides the Dover Land Conservation Trust, but it was a wonderful way that all these organizations managed to work together and not get into arguments and make it happen.
Pegan Hill has a marvelous viewpoint, and it's I think it's the highest point between the Blue Hills and Mount Wachusett, and you can see both hills and in both directions.
Right out of the chute, along came what we now call Porter Woodlands. This was 22 acres, down. Basically, if you head down Bridge Street toward the Charles River and the canoe landing is on your right, everything that's on the left there was owned by the Reitmeyer family in a trust, and they knew at some point they would have to sell. The obvious thing to have happen was it would be developed. The family strongly preferred, if they could, to have it preserved, and to their great credit, worked with us carefully and flexibly and said, if there's any way you, the land trust, can save this, we'd like to sell to you instead. They gave us the time to do the fundraising we needed, and it ended up being a year or two process. So that happened in 2017, and then we thought, okay, we're done. We've just done 2 big projects in 2 or 3 years, and now we'll take a decade off or something. But bango, 2 years later, along came the Blake property, which is, most folks in town know it. You drive Dedham Street, let's just say you're driving from Needham into Dover, and you see that beautiful field on the left, right at the foot of Strawberry Hill Street, which for years has had the hay for sale sign. That's been kind of an iconic sign and really an iconic spot in our town. And that land actually flows up from Dedham Street and Strawberry Hill up and then back into the woods toward Noannet Woodlands. There's in fact a trail link that you can get all the way to Noannet from that field. And here again, the Blake family very kindly had the same situation. That was headed toward being 4 or 5 houses. They said, we'd much rather see it preserved if we can figure out a way for you, the land trust, to buy it. And we, the land trust, said, we just got to give this a shot.
And when we got the church lot up there at Main Street there, that was a classic case of a bunch of neighbors getting together and raising the money, and we bought the land, and made a great difference because a lot of frontage there that could have been developed.
The real magic of the Dover Land Conservation Trust is how much of a community organization it is. So you've got an all-volunteer board of trustees supported by many, many, many loyal townspeople who financially contribute based on a belief that they believe in the work of the land trust. And we live or die by that financial support. And then when things need to get done, people jump in and do them.